My brother and boyfriend hated me for 7 years. They were convinced that I bullied the girl they liked, and at my mother's funeral, they exposed my crime to the world. She took pleasure in bullying her classmates and was a vicious scumbag. Suwon smiled through tears. Today she lost her closest person, so please stop blaming her. This incident was filmed and posted online, making her an overnight sensation. I, however, was cursed and injured by extreme fans, ultimately disfigured and amputated, dying tragically on the hospital bed. When I opened my eyes again, I was back to the day when Suwon first accused me of bullying. She cut her arm with an X-Acto knife while smiling at me. Guess what your brother will do to you when he sees me like this? I slapped her twice and shoved her head into the trash can. This level of pain won't make my brother feel sorry for me. The last memory of my past life. I was lying in a hospital bed, my legs amputated. Suwon, who came specifically to laugh at me, found a mirror from somewhere and placed it in front of me. She mouthed the words silently. Ugly freak. I stared at my disfigured face in the mirror. I smashed the glass with my fist, grabbed a shard, and lunged for her throat, but before I could reach her, my wrist was seized. Jeong-soo, who had arrived belatedly, glared with a venomous look in his eyes. No one can hurt Wonner. Choo-choo. Don't blame me. I blinked, startled for a moment. As I opened my eyes again, in front of me stood Suwon in her school uniform, her features youthful and innocent. She pulled out a utility knife and drew a long, thin line across her own arm. Guess what your brother will do to you when he sees me like this? It's coming back to me now. That day, I had actually gone back to the very day Suwon first framed me for bullying her. I rushed over and snatched the tool she was using. I accidentally knocked the backpack on the table, spilling its contents all over the floor. I immediately recognized the pink-blue notebook on the ground. It was the 1-year anniversary gift I gave my boyfriend. Suwon sneered. Only someone like you would like such childish things. When Yen felt too embarrassed to refuse, so she asked me to help get rid of them. Her gaze fell on the open notebook, where the page displayed a photo of me and Suwon Yen. She revealed a triumphant smirk. Upon closer inspection, you do bear a slight resemblance to me. No wonder he agreed to be with you. But a fake is still a fake. A wave of nausea washed over me. In the photo, I was wearing a white dress, my long hair cascading over my shoulders, affectionately holding Suwon Yen's arm. He said he liked me best in a dress, so I changed my style to please him, growing my hair long. It wasn't until later that I met Suwon. Only then did I realize how much I resembled her. She picked up the notebook and tossed it into the trash nonchalantly. She said, "Trash belongs in the trash can." I chimed in, "You're absolutely right." Then, I grabbed the back of her neck and shoved her head into the trash can too. When she finally pulled her head out of the trash can, her face was covered in filth. I stared at her face, contorted into a grotesque mask, and the banana peel perched on her head. With a malicious grin, I said, "Isn't this exactly what you wanted? You begged for me to bully you. Now that you've got your wish, why aren't you happy?" The next moment, I grabbed the tool she had used and ran to the office to tell the teacher Suwon was hurting herself, and I was the one who stopped her, so she was forcibly taken to the infirmary. In the afternoon, Suwon Yen from the next class came to see me. His expression showed no sign of anything unusual. He reached out, his palm holding 2 lychee-flavored candies. I've never had a sweet tooth, especially for lychee-flavored candy. I was once head over heels in love with Suwon Yen. Even if I hated it, I'd force myself through the cloying sweetness and say it was delicious. Later on, from major work matters down to the smallest daily chores, I'd take care of everything for him without him even having to ask. I thought sincerity would be met with sincerity, yet every time Suwon framed me, he would always take her side and make me apologize. I always believed he was just too kind-hearted to see through Suwon's schemes. In reality, those framing tactics were so childish and clumsy. How could he not have noticed at all? As soon as Suwon shed a couple of tears, he would believe her without question. As if possessed, even on the eve of our engagement, he ordered a diamond ring for Suwon. It seemed they were truly meant for each other. At that thought, I suddenly raised my hand and knocked the candy out of his grasp. Still seething, I slapped him hard across the face. A red mark instantly bloomed on the boy's fair skin. He froze for a moment. Suddenly, he reached out and pulled me into a hug, his voice dripping with affection. "Choo-choo, did I do something to upset you?" 3. Suwon Yen's mother passed away early, and he grew up with his gambling father. He was often beaten to a pulp. Suwon was his neighbor, sharing a similar background, and so they relied on each other and grew up together. No one can break a bond this strong. Because my family funded his education, Suwon Yen had no choice but to swallow his pride and constantly try to please me. He needed to marry me to get into the family business and completely sever ties with his own family, but he just couldn't let go of Suwon. The day before our engagement he stayed out on the balcony, lights off, the ember of his cigarette glowing and fading in the dark. He wasn't much of a smoker. Thinking about how irritable he'd been with me lately, my usually lovesick self suddenly threw a fit. Let's postpone our engagement until next year. He seemed to relax, his voice hoarse as he said, okay, actually, if he just comforted me a little, I wouldn't make a fuss. A wave of bitterness surged in my chest. I turned my back to him, not letting him see my sadness. In the early hours of the morning, I heard the sound of a door being pushed open. He's gone. An hour later, Suwon posted a set of photos on her moments. A radiant girl stood by the overpass, setting off fireworks, while Su Wenyan carefully guarded her from the side. So, today is Suwon's birthday. For thoughts return, I stared at the younger version of Su Wenyang before me. I shoved him away violently. We're done, son of a degenerate gambler. I feel filthy just touching you. That night, I saw Suwon at home. My parents have been away on a business trip abroad, so it's just Jiangsu and me at home. She stood behind Jiangsu, and the moment she saw me, her eyes welled up with tears. With a cold expression, Jiangsu said, Jiang-chu-chu, will you only be happy if you kill Suwon? Do I even exist as your brother anymore? He threw a piece of clothing, soiled with filth and speckled with blood, right in front of me. I feigned sudden understanding and looked at Suwon. Oh. So you came to my house to tattle on me. I paused in thought for a moment, then walked toward Suwon, completely ignoring Jiangsu's icy, dagger-like glare. I'm sorry about what happened before. I hope you won't take it too personally. After all, you're not one of those gold-digging, venomous vixens who's always clinging to my brother and scheming for our family's money. A flicker of irritation flashed in her eyes before she quickly plastered on a magnanimous smile. It's fine, I must have done something wrong myself. I'll make sure to stay out of your sight from now on, so I don't upset you. Her pitiful, delicate appearance made Jiangsu's heart ache even more for her. How disgusting. My hand slipped, and the drink splashed right onto her. She let out a shriek, looking down in dismay at her expensive dress. Given her family's financial situation, there's no way she could afford this season's latest release. It didn't take a genius to figure out Jiangsu must have given it to her. I sneered inwardly, but put on an expression of utter innocence. I'm so sorry, my wrist just gave out. Someone as kind as you surely won't mind, right? Jiangsu snapped at me sharply. What are you doing? You're a grown adult and you can't even hold a drink properly. I have no idea what they even taught you at school. I gave a cold laugh, yanking off the silk scarf on my wrist, revealing the horrifying bruises. It's all because of you, my dear brother. 5. This was caused by Jiangsu. He always takes out his anger on me over the smallest things, hurting me in the process. It could be over a single, seemingly insignificant remark or even the sound of my chair scraping the floor when I get up from the dinner table. In my past life, my feelings for Jiangsu were always a mix of love and fear. I remember the first time I saw him. He was very thin, and the white t-shirt hung loosely on his body. Back then, I was too young to understand what a bastard child was. I just felt his hands were very cold, so I put my gloves on him. Yet he remained distant and aloof towards me the entire time. Later on, with our parents busy with work, it was just Jiangsu and me at home. I hid the blisters on my hand from the burn, placed the freshly baked cookies on the table, and waited for his praise. Instead, he looked at them with disdain and said, I don't eat this kind of junk food. He became increasingly strict with me. If I made the slightest mistake, he would hit the palm of my hand with a ruler, lock me in the room, and forbid me from having dinner. I thought that was just his nature. He didn't understand what love was, nor could he learn the gentleness that other brothers show to their sisters. I understood that. It wasn't until I saw him bringing breakfast to the frail Suwon, gently patting her head, saying, remember to eat well every day. Don't worry about your mother's medical expenses. I've got everything covered. Suwon cooed and clung to him, sharing trivial incidents from school, and he listened patiently, his eyes full of affection. It turns out my brother isn't incapable of tenderness, it's just not directed at me. But now, he doesn't matter to me at all. I recalled Jiangsu's words at my mother's funeral in my previous life and silently vowed to uncover the truth. I want to know if it's really true, what he said about his birth mother's death being connected to my mom. 6. After my parents returned from their business trip, they called me into the study. My father began, his expression grave. What have you been up to at school lately? Before I could even speak, tears began to fall. It was the first time my father had seen me cry, and his expression softened instantly. My mother quickly scolded my father for being too harsh and frightening me. Truthfully, I never thought I'd see my parents again. My overwhelming feeling was one of joy. Hearing this, I realized they had misunderstood. I decided to commit to the act, my voice choked with emotion. She suddenly cut herself. I was just trying to help by taking the knife away and getting the teacher to take her to the infirmary. but then she accused me of bullying her and even scratched my wrist. I showed them the marks on my wrist. Beside me, Jiangsu snapped his head up to look at me, his eyes wide with shock, but he didn't defend Su-won. I lowered my head to hide the amusement in my eyes. I knew he would play the good son in front of father and would never admit to hurting me. With tears in my eyes, I continued. I just don't understand why my brother favors an outsider. Finally, with my voice trembling with tears, my father made the final decision. You did the right thing. If you're wronged, you should stand up for yourself. But this ends here. Making a big deal out of it won't do you any good. I obediently nodded, but in my mind, I thought, even if I stop here, Su-won won't let me off the hook. Don't blame me for returning the favor in kind when that happens. 7. Just as I expected, Su-won began to redouble her efforts to frame me. Horrific bruises of varying sizes kept appearing on her body. Whenever a classmate showed concern, she would first cast a timid glance my way, then frantically shake her head and claim she had fallen. Such a clumsy excuse was naturally seen through in an instant. Rumors quickly spread at school. I was accused of bullying Su-won for a long time. The teacher was aware of this and called me to the office. I dragged Su-won along with me to stop the spread of rumors. We must address the root of the problem, so, in front of the teacher, I asked. To help Su-won wipe her arms and neck, she shrank back. I sneered. What? Are you afraid? She shook her head. I don't understand what you're saying. Teacher, I'm not feeling well. I'm going to head back now. I grabbed her by the arm and pulled her back. With tears in her eyes and trembling, she said, Chu-Chu Jian, I don't know what I did to upset you, to make you target me like this. I apologize, so please, just let me go. Okay. I let out a bitter, incredulous laugh. Get your facts straight. Who's really targeting whom here? Do you think you're the only one who studied art? I took out a makeup remover wipe and scrubbed her arm vigorously several times. The terrifying bruise on her skin turned into a smudge of dark grime. She struggled, pulling back. The moment I let go, she was thrown to the ground by her own momentum. I glanced at the grimy, blackened wipe in my hand and clicked my tongue. They really should give you a Golden Horse Award, the bootleg version. It was between classes, and a crowd of students had already gathered outside the office door. I said loudly, on purpose, Teacher, you see, she's not hurt at all. Those so-called bruises are just special effects makeup. I mimicked her, forcing out a couple of tears. With a face full of grievance, I said, I don't know why she's spreading rumors that I bullied her. Now all my classmates think I'm a bad person and they're shunning me. Now I have nightmares every night and cry under the covers. When my parents ask what's wrong, I don't dare tell them. After all, if one person spreads a lie, no one believes it, but if 100 people do, even a falsehood starts to feel true. I pulled out the fake medical report for mild depression and slammed it on the table. The teacher's face showed a hint of guilt, and the scolding turned into a gentle guidance. As I left the office, whispers from the surrounding crowd reached my ears. It was all makeup. It looked so real that I had even felt sympathy for her before. She seemed so delicate and weak, yet she was so cunning. But why would she do that? Why else? It's obviously for love. Isn't Jiang Chu-Chu dating the top student? I heard he and Su-won are childhood sweethearts. The crowd suddenly understood. I stopped in my tracks and replied earnestly, I don't have a boyfriend. I wouldn't want some pathetic simp anyway. Out of the corner of my eye, I noticed Su Wenyan arriving late. A flicker of pain surfaced in his eyes. His mouth half open, yet he couldn't utter a single word. I returned to the classroom in high spirits. Next, it was time to put my plan into action. A month later, the international art competition was held. The first prize of the competition not only came with a cash reward but also an opportunity to study at a foreign art academy. However, I missed the deadline for completing my work because I was taking care of Su Wenyan, who had a fever, and thus lost my eligibility to compete. He looked haggard and reached out to caress my cheek. Just focus on your painting. I just want to quietly be by your side. His hands are so cold. I felt sorry for refusing and insisted on taking him to the infirmary. He hesitated for a moment, but eventually agreed. I comforted him, saying there was still time before the competition, and I couldn't bear to see him suffer. But his condition grew worse by the day, and he was eventually hospitalized with a lung infection. At that time, my thoughts were completely consumed by him, and I ultimately withdrew from the competition. Meanwhile, Su Wan's entry took first place. In addition to the prize money, there was also the opportunity to study at an art school abroad. I only found out later that to prevent me from finishing my entry, Su Wenyan would douse himself in cold water and sit by an open window every night. He used my love to pave a bright future for Su Wan. 9. Whenever I had free time, I would lock myself in the art room after school. My brother approached me on his own and tossed me a tube of ointment for promoting blood circulation and reducing swelling, but the injury on my wrist had already healed. I know exactly what he's scheming. I rolled my eyes. Well, This is a rare sight, spit it out. What do you want? He stared in disbelief. How did you become so vulgar? I replied with a smile, all thanks to your excellent teaching, dear brother. His forehead veins bulged with anger. After a few seconds, he suppressed his rage and said, give up on this art competition, otherwise, I impatiently cut him off. Otherwise what? Are you saying this ointment will come in handy if I don't give up? A hint of mockery appeared in his eyes. You're quite clever. I snatched up the ointment and hurled it right in his face. Jiangsu, you're addicted to tormenting people, aren't you? Since you love it so much, keep this ointment for Suwan. I bet she'd be thrilled. Fury flashed in his eyes. He suddenly raised his hand, and I could see the slap coming straight for my face. I dropped into a crouch and covered my head. With a trembling voice, she said, I won't argue with her anymore. Please, brother, don't hit me again. If you're still angry, then punish me by not letting me have dinner tonight. Okay, what are you doing? Father's voice echoed from a distance. Jiangsu flinched and quickly dropped his hand, explaining, I was just joking with Chu Chu. Facing my father's suspicious expression, I hid behind him, clutching the hem of my clothes, trembling. My father's face darkened. A joke? Do you think I'm blind? With tears in my eyes, I revealed everything about how my brother had asked me to withdraw from the international art competition. Suwan is the girl who falsely accused me of bullying her last time. She is not only my brother's sponsored student but also his girlfriend. I didn't want to say anything, but I never expected my brother to hit me for her. Jiangsu's eyes widened in shock. He never expected that I had known about his relationship with Suwan all along. After a moment of silence, father called Jiangsu into the study. I quietly eavesdropped outside the door. I've been neglecting your upbringing these past years, and I never imagined you'd turn out so disappointing. Here's what we'll do. There's a project overseas, you go and manage it. Don't bother coming back unless it's necessary. Then came Jiangsu's voice of apology. No matter what he said, it didn't change his father's decision. The Jiang family needs a marriage alliance. If you can't understand that, don't even think about taking over the company. During dinner, I was in high spirits and even ate an extra bowl of rice. Now, I can focus on dealing with green tea and her little lapdog. 10 A few days later, Su Wenyan found me. He had lost a lot of weight and had faint dark circles under his eyes. Chu Chu, why have you been avoiding me lately? Is there something I did wrong? Or is there a misunderstanding between us? Please don't ignore me. I beg you. The last few words revealed great humility. If it were the past me, I would definitely feel very happy. Now, all I see is a man groveling like a pathetic dog. My coldness took him by surprise, and a flicker of unmistakable pain colored his eyes. Have you fallen for someone else? A tidal wave of rage, sharp and sour, crashed over me and pulled me under. In my past life, he didn't like me being too busy, so I always canceled some meetings to spend time with him, which was a major reason I was sidelined at the company. Yet, Suwan always seemed to appear in my life. Intentionally or not, Su Wenyan didn't like the soup I made, but because Suwan said slow-cooked soup was the most nutritious, he drank it all. He wouldn't let me into my storage room because it was filled with Suwan's self-portraits, youthful, radiant, and coquettish. It stung my eyes. He explained that Suwan's mother needed medical expenses, which was why he bought these works. Suwan's pitiful background reminded him of himself, and he asked me not to hold it against her. I truly repaid her malice with kindness, ignoring her increasingly outrageous demands. Yet, in the end, all I got in return was a disfiguring car accident, the amputation of both my legs, and a miserable death in a hospital room. The last shred of my patience was completely devoured by hatred and rage. I reached out and gave a hard, vicious shove. The man lost his balance and tumbled down the stairs. He lay motionless on the ground, seemingly injured. I descended the stairs step by step. I crouched down and delivered another hard punch to him. His pale face instantly swelled up. There was no anger as expected. He grabbed my hand back, his face pleading, Chu Chu, if this makes you happy, I'm willing to be like this every day. A wave of nausea rose within me, and I cut him off. If you're so eager to get beaten, I'll hire someone to beat you 3 times a day tomorrow. I knew about your relationship with Suwan all along. You want to use me, yet you can't bear to let go of your childhood sweetheart. Groveling at her feet, how despicable. Just looking at you makes me sick. After saying that last sentence, I clearly felt his hands trembling. His eyes reddened, the emotions in them like a storm, and finally, he let go. I'm sorry, I chuckled. If apologies worked, what would we need the police for? I pulled a tissue from my pocket, carefully wiped my hands, and then tossed it at his face. Get lost and stay out of my sight. I didn't spare him another glance and turned to leave. 11 I had a dream, a rare one about my past life. After our father died in a car accident, my brother became a new shareholder of the company and kicked my mother and me out of the Jiang family. Later, when my mother fell seriously ill, I couldn't afford the high medical expenses and went to Jiangsu to borrow money. He sneered, she's not my biological mother, why should I help her? I knelt at the gate of the Jiang family home all night. The door opened, and a pair of shiny leather shoes appeared before me. The man looked down at me with an air of superiority and tossed a card onto the ground. Get out. It was raining heavily that day, and I was soaked through. I stared at the balance in the card, stunned. 100 yuan. A person who raised him for over a decade was worth only 100 yuan. In my despair, I went to find Su Wenyan only to see him, amidst countless flowers and streamers, down on one knee proposing to Su Wan. Amidst the cheers, Xu Wan gave a shy smile and agreed. I stood in the corner, utterly humiliated. Before making a cowardly escape later, I went to my so-called friends to borrow money. Everyone avoided me like the plague. From the daughter of the Jiang family, I fell into the dust. After my mother's death, Jiangsu suddenly appeared at the funeral. He announced to everyone, I am here today to celebrate the death of a murderer. Upon hearing this, the crowd was in an uproar. What are you talking nonsense about? His gaze grew even colder. This woman forced my mother to commit suicide by swallowing pills in order to marry into the Jiang family. Now that she's finally dead, I naturally have to celebrate. I was so angry that I was trembling all over. Jiangsu, you need to provide evidence when you speak. He continued, you and your mother are the same. Not only do you love stealing other people's fiancés, but you also take pleasure in bullying classmates year after year. At this moment, Su Wan and Su Wenyan walked in hand from outside the door. Tears welled up in her eyes. You probably don't even remember me. I am Su Wan, the one you bullied for 3 years, and the one you threatened Su Wenyan to leave me by using your identity as a sponsor. Now you can no longer force him. I looked at Su Wenyan. Did I ever threaten you? He glanced away for a moment, then nodded seriously. A group of reporters burst in, surrounding me. Countless flashes made me dizzy. A roaring sound filled my ears. Miss Jiang, is it true what they're saying? Is your mother really the one who killed Mr. Jiang's birth mother? What is the psychology behind your bullying of classmates? I took a deep breath to steady myself. Please leave, this is my mother's funeral. They ignored me, repeating the question over and over. Outside the crowd, Su Wan was weeping inconsolably, with Su Wenyan shielding her protectively. Someone uploaded the live video online, and Su Wan became an overnight sensation, and I became a pariah, receiving curses and wreaths from extreme fans. A few days later, I got into a car accident. I could have avoided it. Someone pushed me from behind. When I came to my senses, an overwhelming pain surged through my lower body. From that moment on, I could never stand again. Later, I died in the hospital room. My soul drifted in the space above. I saw Su Wenyan. He looked dazed, as if he couldn't quite believe it. Jiang Chu is dead. Jiangsu wore a faint, ambiguous smile. So she's dead. Wasn't that the outcome you wanted all along? After all, the driver who hit her, you arranged that, didn't you? What's the matter? Having second thoughts now? Su Wenyan stood there in silence. Yes, I regret it. I woke from the dream, my body drenched in cold sweat, a wave of nausea churning in my stomach. I got out of bed, splashed my face with cold water, and stared at my reflection in the mirror. Just you wait, I'll drag every single person who's ever hurt me straight down to hell. 12. The next day, I stayed late in the art studio, and only breathed a sigh of relief when I put the final stroke on the canvas. There was a sound behind me. It was Su Wenyan. He locked the art room door. Then, he approached me step by step. I instinctively shielded my painting. What do you think you're doing? The next instant, a tremendous force slammed into my shoulder. By the time I realized what was happening, Su Wenyan had pinned me against the wall. The pose was as intimate as lovers, yet his eyes were unfathomably deep, seeping with a chilling coldness. You have everything. Why must you fight her for this? I tried to flee, but he seized my wrist and held me down. I sank my teeth into his arm. He grunted in pain. He didn't let go. He spoke hoarsely. Even if you miss this competition, you won't lose anything. But Su Wan can't. I beg you, please give her the chance. Okay, I chuckled. Does she have so little confidence in her own work? Competitions are about strength. Even without me, she might not necessarily win. Or are you determined to make her the first place? In the next moment, I was shoved forcefully out. My lower back hit the table, and in the sharp, intense pain, I fell to the ground. Su Wenyan looked down at me with a cold voice. Chu, don't blame me. After saying that, he picked up the brush washing bucket and splashed it onto my painting. 13. I stood up and opened the door of the art room. The female reporter excitedly called out to the cameraman behind her, quick, get a close-up shot. At this moment, the painting was ruined, and Su Wenyan still held the tool used in the act. The reporter's name is Zhang Xiaoxiao. She was one of the reporters who questioned me at my mother's funeral and a past life. The article about the Jiang family's daughter bullying a poor student, only to face the consequences herself 10 years later, resulting in a car accident that disfigured and amputated her limbs, was written by her. Such a person, if used well, is a sharp knife. The female reporter held the microphone right up to his mouth. May I ask Su Wenyan, what was your motive for destroying the painting? Su Wenyan stood there in silence, the bucket in his hand caught in a dilemma, to put it down or not. I summoned up my emotions, squeezed out a couple of tears, and launched into a full-blown performance. Su Wenyan, I can't believe you would destroy my work just to stop me from entering this international art competition, even if I don't compete. Do you really think her piece would win? I know you have feelings for her, but that's no excuse to hurt me. If this is how heartless you can be, don't blame me for being merciless. From now on, the Jiang family will no longer fund your education. I gave Zhang Xiaoxiao a look. She very tactfully led the cameraman out. I stood up, then I grabbed a stool and smashed it into Su Wenyan's face. He stepped back, lost his balance, and his head hit the floor with a thud. Choo-choo. I looked into his pain-filled, unfocused eyes, and said, you want to give Su Wan a bright future? Don't dream it. There's no way I'll let you have your way. I grabbed his collar and punched him twice. He grunted in pain, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth, yet he refused to beg for mercy. I only released my grip once I felt a sliver of satisfaction. With an impassive face, I wiped the blood from my hand onto his clothes. I truly wonder, I said, when you've fallen to the depths, covered in filth, will she feel pity for you, or will she be disgusted? You must be curious too, aren't you? Curious whether she'll choose you or Jiangsu. 14. Before the announcement of the international art competition list, Su Wan came to show off. Jiang Chu-chu, do you think injuring Su Wenyan can stop me from winning? I may not have a noble background, but I work hard enough. I don't feel inferior to you in any way. Not only does Jiangsu love me, but Su Wenyan is also on my side. No matter if you're the daughter of the Jiang family, in my eyes, you're just a pitiful soul with no one to love. I was left speechless and laughed. Does she really think she can win an award? I pinched my nose and took a step back. Stay away from me, your body odor is overwhelming. She left after turning bright red and hurling a few harsh words. The next day, the competition list was announced. Su Wan was not on the list. When she saw the news accusing her of stealing someone else's work, she ran out of the classroom in tears. The work Su Wan submitted for the competition was originally created by another girl from my school. She comes from a single-parent family. Her mother runs a food stall outside the school gate year-round. Despite her talent, she had to face reality and give up on her dream of applying to an art academy. Everyone is talking about Su Wan's plagiarism scandal. I arrived at the girls' class. Thank you for providing evidence. Jiangsu promised you, and I will not fall short either. In the future, I will sponsor your university education and help you achieve your dreams. She refused. I just don't want to go against my conscience, nor do I want my work to be used by others. After all, they don't understand the true meaning of the piece I created. I stopped talking. Perhaps out of a desire not to let a gem lose its luster, I took over a shop. I sublet it to her mother at a fifth of the original price, allowing her mother to open a small snack shop. Meanwhile, photos of Su Wenyan destroying the painting made the news. The top student at S High School destroyed the contest entry of the Jiang family's heiress, all for her sake. Here are some intimate photos of Su Wan holding Su Wenyan's arm. I scrolled down and saw a few highly liked comments. Isn't that Su Wenyan from our school? I remembered Jiang Chu-chu was his girlfriend, so who's this Su Wan? A love triangle, spreading the gossip. He was dumped long ago, yet it turns out Jiang Chu-chu is still his sponsor. What a betrayal of kindness. Didn't Su Wan get reported for plagiarism? Could it be that she instigated Su Wenyan to destroy Jiang Chu-chu's competition entry? These two look decent on the surface, but they're so wicked. They're truly made for each other. I exited the news content with satisfaction. Half an hour later, Jiangsu's call came through. I didn't need to guess to know he was calling to yell at me. I didn't answer. I put my phone on silent and went to sleep. The next day, my phone showed dozens of missed calls, and WeChat was the same. I opened Jiangsu's message box. Jiang Chu-chu, do you think reporting Su Wan for plagiarism and bribing journalists to publish articles will benefit you? Her future will never be ruined by you. Do you really think father will always protect you? Dream on. I silently blocked him. What a grown man, talking so much nonsense. I casually clicked on yesterday's news again, only to find the tide had turned in the comments section. Most netizens believe Su Wenyan couldn't stand by and watch me bully Su Wan, which is why he specifically came to talk sense into me. Little did he expect to be mocked by me instead, and in a fit of rage, he destroyed my work. I also sent Su Wenyan to the hospital. Some people think Su Wenyan was unfaithful, leading me on while also showing concern to other girls, which is why I targeted Su Wan. I was completely confused. Keep scrolling down. It turns out someone anonymously posted about me bullying Su Wan in the comments section. The details were incredibly specific, and they even included photos. The photos showed Suwon with a bleeding arm and a banana peel on her head. They were just selfies. Probably the ones she sent to Jiang-Soo at the time to tattle on me, but wasn't the whole story of Suwon accusing me of bullying her something she staged herself. I already exposed her and made the truth public. Now why is the truth being twisted again? Occasionally, one or two people step forward to clarify the facts, but they are quickly drowned out by a flood of comments condemning me. I called Zhang Xiaoxiao and asked her why she was letting the situation be manipulated. She laughed. Don't take it personally. They just offered more money than you did. Besides, it'll generate more buzz. Any publicity is good publicity. Right, that evening, my father returned from his business trip and called me into his study with a grave expression. He said, "Choo-choo, have you ever thought about studying in a different environment?" Though phrased as a question, his tone left no room for doubt. "This whole thing has caused quite a stir, and it's not good for you. You should lay low for a few years and come back once it's all blown over." 15. I was waiting for my father's decision to send me to study finance. In my past life, he always favored Jiang-Soo, that illegitimate son, and never valued my opinions. He was against me studying art and forced me into a finance program. Also, I could help Jiang-Soo manage the company after graduation. But now, my father patted me on the shoulder and said, "I'll send you to the best art school abroad. Just go and do what you love." I was stunned into silence. My father seemed different from before. I suddenly remembered my father's cause of death, a car accident. I once saw my father's driver talking privately with Jiang-Soo. Due to the distance, I couldn't hear clearly and didn't pay much attention. A few days later, my father was involved in a car accident. Perhaps Jiang-Soo had something to do with this. Just then, my father received a phone call and was about to head out. I stepped in front of the door first and said, "Father, old Zhang by your side is getting on in years. Perhaps it's time to consider a new driver." I thought he would refuse, but to my surprise, he agreed straight away. "Very well, I'll give him a sum of money so he can retire and return home." During my school application period, my best friend Qingqing returned to China. In her previous life, her father married a girl who was only 2 years older than her as his stepmother. In a fit of anger, she went abroad for a trip and changed all her contact information. To her surprise, in this life, she returned to China earlier than expected. Qingqing had the driver bring in the gifts she brought for me, then gave me a big hug. I laughed. "Now that you know everything, how dare you come see me? Aren't you afraid of being seen and gossiped about?" She put on a serious face. "How could I not know what kind of person you are? I don't know how you've been this past year, but I'm sure you've suffered a lot. Otherwise, how could you have brought yourself to send the person you spent 2 years chasing to the hospital? You used to cry over him when he scraped his knee playing basketball, and you'd talk to me every day about how great he was, until I was sick of hearing it. You were so lovesick back then, nothing in the world could have talked you out of it. Look how much better you are now. Keep it up. Always put yourself first from now on." The day before I went abroad, I received the documents from the private investigator. I opened them. It contained the truth about Jiang-Soo's mother's death. 16. After going abroad, everything around me felt completely foreign. While taking courses at school, I used my memories from a past life to invest the money my mother gave me in the stock market, multiplying it many times over. My bestie Qingqing told me Jiang-Soo is back at the Jiang family home every day. Aside from being at the office, he's taking Suwon to all sorts of high-end restaurants, but they're doing it on the sly. He's too scared to let your family's patriarch see them. Suwon even complained, saying their relationship is in this awkward, unofficial limbo. What exactly are they? Jiang-Soo keeps saying he'll get the family patriarch to accept her as his future daughter-in-law. But in the end, Suwon can't even set foot inside the Jiang family's door. I also ran into Su Wenyan. He said he can't get in touch with you and asked how you're doing. You should have seen him. He looked utterly heartbroken. I'd be miserable too if I were him. Finally finds a gullible sugar daddy, and then the prize slips right out of his grasp. Su Wenyan isn't pining over me. He's just watching helplessly as his childhood sweetheart gets snatched away by another man, and he can't do anything about it. Of course he feels pathetic and miserable. I said with a smile, "This period has been tough on you. Anyway, I'm pretty free right now. This little favor is nothing at all." A few days later, I arrived at a nursing home and met someone I had been searching for a long time. 17. A pale, frail boy sat in a wheelchair. He stood out starkly against the warm, cozy scene around him. I approached him and introduced myself. "Hello, my name is Jiang Chu-Chu." The normally gentle boy instantly became wary. He frowned, called for a caregiver, and had me escorted away. I wasn't annoyed and smiled, saying, "See you tomorrow." After that, I'd pester him whenever I had a spare moment. Each time, I'd bring a few trinkets for Miwoo back home. He, who had remained silent all along, stared at the rubber squeeze toy that bulged out big, googly eyes. He frowned in disdain and muttered, "How childish, it's a lovely day. Would you like to go outside the sanatorium for a bit?" He lowered his gaze. Looking at his own legs came the muffled reply, "No." I noticed the pendant on the necklace around his neck that was left to him by his mother. "It's a keepsake, Liam. Have you ever thought about standing up one day in the future?" He fell silent for a moment, his voice hoarse as he said, "Don't joke about me." I sincerely bent down to meet his gaze. I was serious. He looked at me, his Adam's apple moving slightly. Finally, he turned away. "Impossible. My legs have been crippled for a long time." Instead of trying to cheer him up as usual, I quietly pushed him for a walk by the lake. A week later, I returned to the nursing home. Before I even entered, I heard a commotion. It was Liam who refused to eat. He saw me and was momentarily stunned. Eyes red, he asked, "Have you forgotten me?" I suddenly felt a bit guilty. "Sorry, I've been really busy lately." He didn't say a word and began to eat. After the meal, I skillfully wheeled him outside to get some sun. At that moment, the sun was just right, and the lake water shimmered. I suddenly turned around, ran to the lakeside, and reached my arm out toward the water, and in their hand, they clutched a necklace. He froze, then frantically felt for his neck. "There was nothing, Liam. If you don't want me to throw this necklace into the lake, come and get it yourself. There's a green belt between the lake and the road, making it inaccessible for wheelchairs unless you walk over." He almost pleaded, "Choo-choo, please give it back to me." I ignored him completely. 3, 2, 1, let go. I threw the necklace into the lake. He went crazy and stumbled out of his wheelchair. He finally collapsed in the greenbelt. Why would you do that? Look behind you." He fell just a few steps away from the wheelchair. In other words, he is capable of standing up. It's only because he hasn't exercised for years, causing muscle atrophy, that he falls. Liam's eyes were filled with tumultuous emotions. With a bitter smile, "Just because you wanted to prove I could stand up, you threw the only thing my mother left me into the lake." I shook my head. I took the necklace from my pocket and put it on him. He froze in shock, but I saw it with my own eyes. I cut him off with a smile. "That was a replica I bought. You were just too far away to tell the difference. Liam, do you want to do rehabilitation training?" I've reviewed his medical records, and in reality, he can't walk, mainly due to psychological issues. Rehabilitation training is tough, and every time, his clothes are soaked with sweat. The moment she saw me, the furrow in her brow would soften. I told him, "If you can walk 100 steps without any help, I'll grant you one wish." His eyes lit up, and he agreed. In just a few days, he managed to do it. Though each step was shaky, he still gritted his teeth and finished the journey. He wiped the sweat from his forehead. "You said you would fulfill one of my wishes." I nodded, "Yes." "Then answer me one question, and I want the truth." The corners of his mouth turned down in a bitter smile. "No one is charitable enough to help a wheelchair-bound orphan in a foreign land. What's your goal? Is it because of the Lee family, or is it because of my half-brother?" 18. I stopped hiding the truth. I placed all the information I had uncovered about the truth of his mother's death directly on the table. When he saw the contents of the documents, he froze, his eyes filled with pain and shock. His voice trembled. "Why should I believe these few pieces of paper?" I told him everything Jiangsu had done to me over the years. The shock in his eyes gradually gave way to despair. I reached out and gently wiped the tears from his face. "Whether you believe it or not, this is the truth. I helped you because we have a common enemy. I've seen the software you designed. You can join me in starting a company, and together we can bring the bad guys to justice." In the spring 2 years ago, a project under Jiangsu's supervision ran into trouble and urgently needed another company to back it up. Upon receiving the news, I immediately returned to the country. My bestie Ching called me. "Tomorrow night is a business-style banquet arranged by my father. Why not use this opportunity to expand your network?" I agreed. At the banquet, I handed out my company's business cards to those elite individuals. Everyone was being exceedingly polite to me, and among them was Su Wenyan. "Choo-choo, it's been a long time." He held a glass of red wine. Both his face and his demeanor were far more mature and composed than they had been years ago. "I haven't been able to reach you for years. How have you been?" "Couldn't be better." I narrowed my eyes and drained the glass of red wine. "I suppose you and Suwon are finally together now. After all, you were the one willing to sacrifice your own future for her." His face turned grim, and he hesitated, unable to speak. "I'm sorry for what happened back then." Catching a glimpse of an unfamiliar girl watching from a distance, I instantly understood. "Stop, I don't want to hear it. Just seeing you makes me sick. Get lost, or I'll go tell that girl over there about your touching story with Suwon." Su Wenyan was left speechless by my remark. After a moment of silence, he finally turned and walked away. Ching came over with a small dessert in hand and whispered, I haven't had a chance to tell you yet. Su Wenyan has latched onto the Su family's daughter. He's set to become a live-in son-in-law. I raised an eyebrow and took a sip of my drink, and the old man of the Su family agreed to that. Su Wenyan is certainly good-looking, and you've seen firsthand how smooth he is with women. A while back, so you got pregnant with his child. She threw every tantrum in the book, even threatened to harm herself, until the old man finally gave in. The condition was that they had to sign a prenuptial agreement. I chuckled to myself. How could he always think of relying on women to turn his life around? He didn't realize that one should take control of their own destiny. Liamo sent me a message. He's here to pick me up after saying goodbye to Ching Ching. I prepared to leave. I stepped outside and suddenly found my path blocked. It was Jiangsu. What are you doing here? I raised an eyebrow. Same reason as you. The phone rang. It was Liamo calling. I didn't want to waste my breath on him, so I was about to leave. Suddenly, a force grabbed my shoulder, and Jiangsu pulled me back. What? Do you want to hit me? I narrowed my eyes, sizing him up. I wouldn't mind at all if tomorrow's headlines featured both his name and mine. In the end, it's the Jiang group that will have to deal with the headache. Jiangsu's raised hand was seized in a vice-like grip. It's Liamo. He stood in front of me, his eyes as cold as a deep pool. Long time no see. Brother. Jiangsu was stunned, his expression shattered. How did you get here? Your leg, I said slowly. Of course he's here to pick me up. He shook off Liamo's hand and stared at us intently. What is your relationship? I laughed without restraint. Jiangsu, instead of worrying about our relationship, you'd better think about the upcoming project collaboration between Wanyue and Jiangshi Group. The company that will take over the project from Jiangsu is Wanyue, he said through gritted teeth. I'm not giving you the project. Well, that depends on whether the other shareholders in the group agree. I left Jiangsu standing there, his face ashen, and pulled Liamo into the car. For some reason, the day after the party, Su Wenyan asked to meet me. When I refused, he just camped out at the villa's entrance. Liamo saw who it was and promptly slammed the door shut. Su Wenyan clutched his hand, which had just been caught in the door, his face contorted in pain. I found out about this and laughed, realizing he's still the same as he was back then. He said, he doesn't look like a good person, you should stay away from him too. I suddenly became curious. Did you used to see me that way too? He blushed, looking like a puffed up kitten. It's different. How can he compare to you? I stopped teasing him and turned to work on the proposal. In the end, I still secured the project. When it comes to profits, the other shareholders stand united. Although Jiangsu is a capable young man, he does not have the authority to make decisions on behalf of the Jiang Group. Guan Yu's popularity rose another notch in the country when I learned that Su Wan was sent to film school and entered the entertainment industry by Jiangsu using his superpowers, successfully launched 2 new budding actresses into the film industry, took several roles away from Su Wan. Not long after, Su Wan came to me, begging me to spare her. I refused. She flew into a rage. Don't think you can control everything now. So what if I can't marry into the Jiang family? Jiangsu is still madly in love with me. I'll take everything from you, just like I always have, including that Liamo by your side. I took a sip of my coffee. Laugh. Is your mind only filled with men? You don't want to work hard and don't have a good background. What makes you think you can beat me? But if Xiaofan put in some effort to hone his acting skills, he wouldn't keep losing roles. After all, when it comes to equal benefits, people will always choose the better one. Su Wan bit her lip tightly, not uttering a word. Slap. She slapped herself, and a clear red mark instantly appeared on her fair cheek. Jiang Chu, just wait and see. I will definitely ruin your reputation. She ran out crying. The next day, my name and Su Wan's were trending on social media. 19. I saw the trending topic about actress Su Wan being beaten for refusing to comply with hidden rules. I felt a bit amused. Liamo finished the call from the collaborator, his face dark, and handed me the phone. It turned out that Su Wan's studio had issued a statement. I gave it a quick read. The gist of it is an accusation that I tried to coerce Su Wan into a sexual quid pro quo. The timeline, location, and alleged motives are all laid out in detailed and plausible terms. It even includes the claim that I bullied her in high school because she rejected my advances. I never thought that after all these years, I still can't get her out of my mind. Even the name of my company uses a character that sounds just like the one in her name, though it's a different character. Actually, the one in my company's name is taken from Liamo's mother's name. The statement also accused me of promoting a young starlet into the entertainment industry after I returned to the country, deliberately snatching her resources. She only agreed to meet me as a last resort. When she rejected me again, I flew into a rage and laid hands on her. I scrolled down, and all the comments were supporting Su Wan and condemning me. I remembered Jiang Chu used to date the top student from S High, didn't she? Since when does she like women? Some netizens replied to him. She must have failed in her pursuit of Soo-won and deliberately broke up this childhood sweetheart couple, cruelly separating these star-crossed lovers. Liam-o asked me what to do. I wasn't convinced. Just wait a little longer. Subsequently, Soo-won's account gained 3 million followers. My company's stock price has been steadily falling. My mother told me that the Jeong Group was going to halt the project cooperation. It was my father who intervened, calming down several shareholders, and they finally agreed to give me half a month to resolve the matter. My father didn't mention any of this to me. He just scolded me for not telling him right away that I was the founder of Wonwoo Company. The last project was handled by Jeong-soo, and he's pretty tight-lipped. People with something to hide always act like this, father said. I've already arranged for a PR team, and we will definitely minimize the losses for Wonwoo. I suddenly felt a pang of emotion. The day before my father's accident in my previous life, I was still arguing with him, blaming him for favoring Jeong-soo. I forced a smile. It's okay, I'll handle this myself. Wonwoo will definitely face bigger challenges in the future, if I can't handle this. How can I make Wonwoo bigger and stronger? There was a brief silence on the other end of the line. Why don't you come home for a meal in a couple of days? Your mom really misses you. From then on, my life was completely disrupted by Soo-won's extreme fans. Not only did they send abusive private messages and wreaths, but they also splashed excrement at my doorstep. They even kidnapped me. 20. I was in the underground parking garage when someone covered my mouth and nose from behind when I came 2. I was in an unfamiliar room. I was lying on a bed, my hands and feet bound. A burly, bearded man sat in a chair smoking. He saw that I was awake. He picked up his phone and made a call. He held the phone to my ear. Soo-won's voice came from within. I told you I'd ruin you. The next moment, several men and women entered from outside the door. 2 of the girls bore a striking resemblance to Soo-won. They all began to take off their clothes. I clicked my tongue and looked away. They're just a bunch of ugly freaks. I don't mind. Jeong-soo's cold laugh came through the phone. Jeong-choo-choo. Tonight you will suffer a heart attack after overdosing on a special drug and indulging excessively. Not only will I take over your company, but I will also make you a disgrace to the Jeong family. The call ended, and the bearded man pinched my face, trying to force me to take the pill. I clenched my teeth tightly. Even as excruciating pain shot through my abdomen, I absolutely refused to open my mouth. In the next moment, he pulled out a syringe. I struggled frantically, but was pinned down by countless hands. The needle pierced my arm and the plunger was pushed. The man with the beard left. The drug screamed through my veins. My consciousness began to blur, and it was as if I had been thrown back to the moment of my death in a past life. Despair and pain engulfed me completely. In a daze, I saw Liam-o. He cried, trembling. He draped a coat over me. His hands were so cold. After a long silence, I said in a hoarse voice, Liam-o, let's take him to my place. 21. The next time I woke up, I was in the hospital. I sensed a presence beside me. Turning my head slightly, I saw Liam-o. The usually immaculate young man now had a shadow of stubble on his chin and several bruises on his face. I only found out later that he couldn't get through to me on the phone. He went to Jeong-soo demanding to know where I was, and got beaten up for it. Fortunately, the bearded man called him and told him about my plan. Otherwise he would have caused too much of a commotion, and that would have been bad for the plan. When he saw me awake, a glimmer of light sparked in his dull eyes. Choo-choo, don't worry, I will definitely make them pay, I said. Okay. Then I had him bring me my phone and dialed a series of numbers. In the afternoon, a bearded man in disguise came to the hospital and handed me a sealed dossier. You promised you would cure my daughter. Don't worry, I've already secured the most elite medical team for her abroad. Once she's recovered, I'll also fund her education overseas. After all, you've earned it. The documents contain evidence of Jeong-soo and Soo-won's kidnapping of me. I watched the video the man secretly recorded. The masterminds behind this were Jeong-soo, Soo-won, and Soo Won-yen. However, it seems Soo Won-yen didn't know they intended to kill me. He only thought I would be ruined after this incident. What difference does it make whether you know or not? All 3 of them deserve to go to hell that night. A video went viral. It was surveillance footage from years ago when Jeong-soo forced me to kneel and hit my palm. There was also the recording of Soo-won's self-directed performance in front of me that day. The comments section under her account exploded. The fan group leader turned against her and exposed a video of her bullying staff backstage. Of course, that fan site admin was also part of my plan. Soo-won went live to clear her name, crying and playing the victim, but she was mercilessly torn apart by countless netizens who had turned against her. 20 minutes later, while still live-streaming, she was taken away by the police. Jeong-soo was not only charged with kidnapping and attempted murder, but also labeled as an economic criminal. Over the years, he had done countless shady deals to grow the Jeong Corporation. On top of that, He manipulated his own mother into suicide in order to return to the Jiang family. In his previous life, Jiangsu repeatedly claimed that his mother was driven to death by my mother. In fact, he was the real murderer back then. Jiangsu's mother left his father while pregnant with him and married into the Li family. 12 years later, Li Jian died in an accident, and he and his mother were driven out. His half-brother Li Mo, however, remained in the Li family, but when Li Mo developed psychological issues, his relatives, aiming to seize Li Jian's inheritance, sent him to a foreign sanitarium. Now that Jiangsu is involved in illegal activities, the situation has spiraled out of control, and he didn't even have time to think of a countermeasure before the police took him away. The next person is Su Wenyan. He had sworn to Su Wan that he would never touch another woman, so he tricked the Su family's daughter into drinking drugged wine, allowing another man to sleep with her. The child in her womb wasn't his at all. I handed the evidence over to the Su family. The Su family always valued their reputation, but no parents in the world would allow such a thing to happen to their daughter. Soon after, Su Wenyan and the murderer were sent to prison. 22. After my father learned that I was behind what happened to Jiangsu, I thought he would scold me for being heartless and disregarding our bond as brothers. He was silent for a long time, and then simply told me to come home more often when I had the chance. He said that my mother missed me very much. I looked at the white hair at my father's temples, and my throat tightened with emotion. Before the verdict was handed down, I went to see Jiangsu and Su Wan. The man stared at me intensely, his eyes filled with both hatred and confusion. I laughed. You don't think I'm still that naive Jiang Chuchu from back then, do you? This outcome is on you. Blame your own ruthless methods and all the evil you've done. Heaven is just, villains must pay the price, right, brother? All these years abroad, aside from studying and running the company, I spent every spare moment meticulously gathering evidence of his crimes, following the faintest leads from my past life, all for the day I could finally see him behind bars. I was worried I wouldn't land a decisive blow, but he walked right into the trap himself. The second person I saw was Su Wan. Her eyes were bloodshot as she pounded on the glass. No, that's not how it happened. I remember you were betrayed by everyone and ended up a crippled, hideous monster. Why is it like this? Why is it like this? So, she had been reborn too. What a pity. She'll have to spend the next 10 years in prison. The next moment, the hysterical woman was subdued by the officers and taken away. I didn't want to see Su Wenyan in the first place. I've had nothing to do with him for a long time. He was the one who requested the police to arrange a meeting with me. He had lost a lot of weight, his prison uniform hanging loosely on his frame. He stared at me in silence until I grew impatient and started to get up to leave. Finally, he spoke slowly. In the years you've been abroad, I've often had the same dream. In it, your father dies unexpectedly, and after you and your mother leave the Jiang family, you live a very hard life. What exactly are you trying to say? His gaze was inscrutable, flickering with an unfathomable light. I knew it was a dream, yet when I woke at midnight, I found myself wishing it were all real, that in that dream, I was the only one you could rely on. I let out a derisive snort, finding it utterly absurd. So I could be set up by you, get into a car crash, lose my legs, and have my face ruined. You really do wish I were dead, don't you? If this is all you wanted to say, then I don't have time for this. He was stunned for a moment, then suddenly became agitated. How could you know this? I've never told anyone about it. Could all these things in my dreams be? I impatiently interrupted him. You said it yourself. It's just a dream. I will never become the person you see in your dreams again. Stop deluding yourself. I stood up and said word by word, Su Wenyan, everything is over. My life has long been unrelated to you. This outcome is what you deserve. 23. When I got home, I saw a red velvet box sitting on the coffee table. The card beside it was in Limo's handwriting. I need to take care of some family matters for a while. Wait for me. I opened the box. Inside was a phoenix, carved from red crystal. That is, the phoenix reborn from the ashes. The end. Story 2. For weeks pregnant. Congratulations. I was a week late for my period. Came to the hospital for a checkup, and was told I was 1 month pregnant. This baby came as a complete surprise. I walked out of the doctor's office, stood in the hallway, touched my belly in a daze, and hesitated about whether to keep it. My health is poor, and if I terminate the pregnancy, I might never be able to conceive again. A sudden commotion broke out in the crowd. Wow, is that Lu, the actress, with her boyfriend? They look so perfect together. He accompanies her to every prenatal checkup. They're so loving. With such high appearance level parents, their kid must be incredibly good looking. I instinctively looked into the crowd and immediately spotted Chi Yanli and Lu Man. She had been using him to promote their fake relationship for nearly 7 years. and everyone thought they were a couple. On Valentine's Day, we three went out to eat together and were photographed by paparazzi. A group of netizens called me a manipulative green tea bitch. Little did they know, I am Chi Yanli's wife. I don't want to stay here and risk the embarrassment, Lu Man called out to me. Jeezy you. What are you doing here? Don't tell me you're deliberately following me and Ollie. I have to give her credit, I was wrapped up so tightly that I managed to dodge the paparazzi, yet I couldn't escape her notice. Before I could respond, Chi Yanli's brow furrowed, already condemning me, just this once, no next time. Hearing the word stalking, the surrounding people stared at me with strange looks, as if I were some malicious third wheel. This wasn't the first time I faced such a scene, but it always felt like a bone stuck in my throat. Chi Yanli, however, had no intention of helping me out. He took Lu Man to the blood collection room. Of course, how could he bear to reveal the truth that I am his wife, letting his white moonlight be blamed? Funny how I actually considered whether to keep this child. What good genes could someone so cold and heartless possibly have when the child is born? Don't be like their father, giving me grief every day. I went to the hospital to get an abortion and called my lawyer on the way back. Get the divorce agreement drafted and bring it over as soon as possible. However, the evidence of Mr. Chi's infidelity during the marriage is not strong enough. If we can get the results of Lu Man's amniocentesis to prove that the child is Mr. Chi's biological offspring, you can get a larger share of the assets. I also feel it's a pity. Forget it, half is half. Every extra day in this marriage, where I'm the one constantly enduring like a ninja turtle, is pure torture for me. Frankly, I'd rather take less money. I'm not feeling well and need to get home to rest, but I had barely gotten home when Chi Yanli showed up. He always had a cool and detached demeanor, handling everything with calm composure, as if nothing could stir his emotions. But this time, he ran back, his eyes bloodshot. Chi Yanli grabbed my hand. I saw the trending topic. His grip was too strong. It hurt my hand. I pulled my hand away. So what if they saw? I didn't check the trending topics. Probably another bot hot search by Lu Man's team, praising how much Chi Yanli dotes on her, and then accusing me of lacking self-awareness and trying to cling to Chi Yanli. This isn't the first or second time it's happened. Lu Man's fans have often called me a homewrecker. Chi Yanli's emotions were running high. Each word seemed to be forced out from his throat. The trending topic says you went to the hospital today to get an abortion, so Chi Yanli wasn't talking about the same thing as me. I don't understand why he's so angry. Yeah, that's right. Chi Yanli seemed on the verge of losing his temper but held back. You were wronged at the awards ceremony, but you shouldn't take it out on the child. Just hearing about it makes my blood boil. I've been in the industry for 8 years and have been nominated for Best Actress 5 times. I finally had the Best Actress award in the bag this time, but he helped Lu Man snatch it right from under me. Because of this, I was mocked as a clown by Lu Man's fans and dubbed the perennial runner-up by netizens. I'm not being petty. I just think since we're getting a divorce anyway, there's no point in keeping the baby. I've already had the divorce papers drafted. My lawyer will bring them over tomorrow, so please sign them. Chi Yanli already had a short fuse around me, and by now, his patience had completely run out. It's just a Best Actress award. It's not worth all this drama. If you want it that badly, I'll make sure you get it next year. We'll talk about everything else once you've calmed down. Even after I had the abortion and talked about divorce, he never once thought to apologize or admit he was wrong. He just grabbed his car keys and left. Just like always, no matter how deeply he hurt me, he would just abandon me and leave me to deal with the pain on my own. He probably figured I'd come crawling back to him to make up before long, just like I always did, but he has no idea. Not this time. I grew up orphaned, relying on my sister for survival. Later, my sister developed kidney disease, and Mrs. Chi Yanli's mother paid for her surgery and also sponsored my education. I was grateful to her and, to repay her kindness, agreed to supervise Yanli's studies at school, accompany him after his breakups, and marry him. Mrs. Chi said that if, after 10 years, I still didn't have feelings for him, she wouldn't force the matter. The deadline has arrived. The next morning, the lawyer brought the divorce agreement. I called Chi Yanli, but no one answered. I simply sent him the electronic version of the agreement. Take a look. If there are no issues, come back to sign it. I sent the message, and it showed a red exclamation mark. He deleted me again. Whenever he's upset, even if it's his fault, I have to bend over backwards to make it up to him. He's long been used to me revolving my world around him. What a nuisance. Thank goodness for divorce. I don't have to put up with this anymore, I thought with relief. Yet for 3 days straight, Chi Yanli never came home. Instead, he was conspicuously accompanying Lu Man shopping and walking red carpets, landing them on the trending list several times. Online chatter was all about their impending good news. By the 4th day, I'd run out of patience to wait around. I went to crash his birthday party to confront him. Chi Yanli's birthday party was held at one of his villas, inviting only his and Lu Man's friends. I pushed the door open, and everyone turned to look at me. Lu Man couldn't hold back and chuckled. Can't sit still anymore. The others followed with cold mockery. Man said that GZU is using the threat of divorce to pressure President Xi, hoping he'll give her some good resources, but President Xi simply ignores her. Brotherly won't fall for that. She must be afraid that Brotherly will really divorce her, so she's rushing over to make up. Right, Brotherly only likes Man. GZU clings to him every day, and only managed to marry into the G family by relying on pressure. From the older generation, if I were her, I'd keep a low profile and wouldn't dare to act out like this every day. Man's friends are definitely biased in her favor, and Chi Yanli's friends treated me like a joke because of how he treated me. I don't like wasting words, so I just asked them, "Where is Chi Yanli? Who allowed you to come here?" Chi Yanli's cold, hard voice came from behind. Soon, he walked over to Lu Man's side. Someone let out a jeer, and everyone present was waiting to see me make a fool of myself. I ignored them and said to Chi Yanli, "I need to talk to you." He's the CEO of Starlight Entertainment. A scandal could tank the company's stock price. As a major shareholder myself, I don't want this to get ugly. I'd prefer to settle this with him privately, but Chi Yanli had no intention of sparing me any dignity. Just say what you have to say. If this is about you regretting the divorce drama and wanting to make up, save your breath. I can agree not to divorce, but this is the last time I'll put up with your tantrums. If he won't accept a graceful way out, why bother offering him one? The word regret isn't in my vocabulary. I took out the divorce agreement from my bag and handed it to him. Sign it. Chi Yanli didn't take it, just stared at me with a serious face. Wait until I sign, and then you'll cause trouble during the divorce cooling off period. GZU, I don't have time to play house with you. I really hate his self-righteous attitude. Don't worry. All your assumptions are based on the premise that I like you, but the reason I've been clinging to you since high school is just to repay my mother's kindness. Now that the 10-year deadline I promised her has arrived, I will absolutely have no further involvement with you. You're annoyed by me, and I'm really annoyed by you and Lu Man. Honestly, you cheated on your wife and practiced cold violence, and I just can't like you. I thought if I told the truth, Chi Yanli would sign the papers right away. After all, it's Lu Man he loves, and he said more than once how tired he is of me, his wife. But with every word I spoke, his expression grew darker. He looked disbelieving, almost panicked and agitated. In the end, his gaze was positively murderous. Chi Yanli took the divorce papers, tore them to shreds, and turned to leave. He was tall and long-legged, and he walked swiftly. I couldn't catch up, nor did I have any intention of trying. Instead, I took out my phone and sent him a text. "I'll be waiting at home. If you're not back within 2 hours, I'll have my lawyer file for divorce. You'll bear full responsibility for all consequences resulting from this divorce filing. If his affair with Lu Man comes to light, I can manage to clear my own name. However, I'm a major shareholder in Starlight Entertainment. One is the company's CEO, the other is a contracted artist. Their involvement in this scandal will cause me significant financial losses. That's one of the reasons I put up with them all these years." I checked the time and drove home. An hour later, Chi Yanli finally returned. He sat on the sofa, expressionless and silent. "Here's the divorce agreement, freshly printed," I said, handing it over. Chi Yanli took it, his expression growing darker. The agreement crumpled in his grip. Seeing this, my voice also turned cold. "Chi Yanli, my patience is limited. If you dare to tear it a second time, we'll meet in court." Chi Yanli paused for a moment, then threw the divorce agreement onto the table. He stared at me. I never thought about getting a divorce. Hearing this, I couldn't help but scoff. But I dream of getting a divorce every single day. It's no exaggeration to say I even dream about divorcing him. It's practically become an obsession. Chi Yanli's Adam's apple bobbed, his eyes dark and inscrutable, as if he was holding back with great effort. I usually endure his mistreatment, but he simply can't stand my attitude. Chi Yanli tapped his fingers on the coffee table. "Stellar Entertainment is preparing to go public, and exposing our divorce now would be detrimental to the company. As long as you don't divorce me, I can give you 5% of the shares." I lazily yawned. "It'll take at least 2 or 3 more years for the IPO, and I can't wait that long. That 5% of the shares is destined to be out of my reach. Are you really in such a hurry to get divorced?" "Exactly." Chi Yanli seemed humiliated, with a hint of sorrow and resentment in his eyes. "GZU, we've known each other for 10 years, married for 7, have you never had any feelings for me? Was all that affection you showed me before just an act?" Hearing this, I felt disgusted. "Chi Yanli, think carefully about the past 10 years. If you were me, would you have fallen for yourself? Chi Yanli's face alternated between shades of green, white, and red, and he hastily left after saying, I need to consult a lawyer to review the divorce agreement again. I think if he had any self-respect, he would sign the divorce papers as I requested. We met when we were 18 back then. I was the new transfer student, and he was the school genius Chi Yanli, and the school beauty. Lu Man's love story was the talk of the town. She was at the bottom of her class and had no chance of getting into college, plus her family was poor. She planned to rely on her looks to become an influencer, but she was worried about being scammed on her own, so she asked Chi Yanli to accompany her. When Chi Yanli was very young, his father passed away, and his mother remarried a wealthy man, leaving him with his grandmother. After his grandmother passed away, he lived alone. His upbringing left him craving love and wanting to hold on to every person he cared about. Plus, being young, Chi Yanli acted on impulse and dropped out of school to become Lu Man's assistant. As a result, she hooked up with the top streamer and dumped him. He tried to reconcile several times, only to be rejected and mocked repeatedly. Later, when he returned to school, Chi Yanli lost interest in studying. His grades plummeted, and his temper worsened. At his mother's request, I brought him meals every day, made sure he ate properly, and even tutored him to improve his grades. He mocked me more than once, even throwing the insulated lunchbox straight into the trash. My classmates all laughed at me for being a simp, but I kept chasing after Chi Yanli regardless. In our junior year, Lu Man transitioned from an online influencer to an actress, and her debut web series became a massive hit. Her relationship with Chi Yanli was exposed, and he was mocked by her fans, who said that a poor guy like him could never be worthy of her. During that time, Chi Yanli was in low spirits, showing signs of a relapse of depression. Later, he decided to venture into the entertainment industry, and I became his only signed artist. To gain fame, I tried every trick to ride the wave of popularity, earning a flood of online abuse. To secure a role, I drank myself into a gastric bleed at a dinner party. It was a stroke of luck, but I managed to carve out a path. Chi Yanli confessed his feelings to me and proposed. His mother was worried that if I rejected him, his depression might relapse, so she asked me to say yes. I didn't have anyone else I liked anyway, so I just went ahead and agreed. After Xingchen Entertainment took off, Lu Man came back into Chi Yanli's life. To my disbelief, he got involved with her again, showing me, his wife, no respect whatsoever from start to finish. A man like that, handsome and wealthy as he may be, there's no way I could ever fall for him. Even if the tiniest spark had ever flickered, he'd have snuffed it out with his own hands in no time. The divorce settlement was perfectly fair. I thought for sure Chi Yanli would come to me to sign it right away. He did contact me the very next day, but he took me to the hospital. Chi Yanli's mother lay in the hospital bed, emaciated to the point of being skin and bones, and her complexion didn't look good either. Seeing her reduced to this state, yet being utterly powerless to help, filled me with an indescribable sadness. She chatted with me about the TV show I starred in, asked about my sister's current situation, and only then did she say, Ziyu, I have terminal stomach cancer and don't have much time left. The one thing that worries me the most before I die is Ali. With his personality, I can only feel at ease if you stay by his side. Can you continue to accompany him? I am a person who repays kindness, otherwise I wouldn't have shamelessly followed Chi Yanli for 10 years. But knowing how to be grateful doesn't mean I'm naive. Mom, how many 10 years are there in a lifetime? Even if you've done me great favors, I think I've repaid them by now. I believe in repaying kindness, but you also need to know when to stop. What do you think? The mother-in-law sighed. After a long silence, she spoke with a complex expression. You've been together for so many years. Can you give him another chance? I've already talked to him. Xingchen Entertainment will terminate their contract with Lu Man. She won't affect you anymore. I raised my hand to interrupt. A mother will always be partial to her own son. There's no point in continuing this conversation. I'll take my leave now. Her kindness, I've long since repaid. The rest of my life is my own. I turned and left. Chi Yanli, sign or sue. Choose one. Chi Yanli followed me out, snatched the divorce agreement, and signed it with a forceful stroke that seemed about to tear the paper. Ziyu, I hope you don't regret this. Of course not. See you at the Civil Affairs Bureau in a month. I reached out to take it, but Chi Yanli held the divorce papers tightly, refusing to let go. He stared at me intently, his voice laced with resentment as he said, the assets from the company's IPO could multiply tenfold, yet you insist on divorcing now. That's not like you. Have you fallen for someone else? Is it the movie star, Jiang Jin, or that singer, Su Hung? I yanked the agreement out with effort. Who I like is none of your business. If he and Lu Man weren't so utterly disgusting, Would I have walked away from the money ignoring his stormy expression? I left, humming a tune. After signing the divorce papers, Chi Yanli and Lu Man became increasingly brazen, gifting sports cars at birthday parties one day and splurging millions on jewelry at auctions the next. Everyone online is praising Chi Yanli for being a doting husband and envying Lu Man anyway. The property has been divided, and it has nothing to do with me. It's like Chi Yanli is out of his mind, insisting on dragging me along for business meetings, and I can't refuse. After getting drunk, he cornered me in the hallway, refusing to let go, repeatedly asking if I liked Jiang Jin or Su Heng. And when exactly I had an affair. To make matters worse, the paparazzi took photos of us and posted them online. Lu Man's fans have been relentlessly attacking me online, trying to take advantage of President Xi while he's drunk. Have you no shame, you bottom feeder? President Xi and Man are having a child and getting married, and you pull this stunt. Get out of the entertainment industry, you scum. Get lost, you rotten fish. You have to compete with Man for everything. Why don't you take a good look at yourself in the mirror and see what a disgrace you are? And that was one of the milder comments. The others were laced with crude anatomical references and curses aimed at my ancestors for 18 generations. Every single word was an assault on the eyes. I called Chi Yanli and said, "Our divorce will be finalized in 1 month. You and Lu Man can wait until then to flaunt your relationship." The more they flaunt their love, the more viciously Lu Man's fans come after me. Nobody likes being attacked like that. Chi Yanli's voice was icy cold. We're getting a divorce. You don't seem to have the right to dictate who I'm with, but if you regret it, we can still go to the Civil Affairs Bureau and withdraw the divorce application. However, from now on, you must keep your distance from Jiang Jin and Su Heng. I let out a bitter laugh. Chi Yanli, you don't actually think I have a saint's patience, do you? I played the good girl for too long, and he actually thinks I'm a pushover. I hung up and called my agent. Call a press conference in 2 hours. Everything's already set up. I was just waiting for you to say the word. My agent was over the moon and brought the team over to get me ready. She's been through a lot by my side over the years. I transferred her $1 million as compensation for the emotional distress. The press conference began, and besides the reporters, many of Lu Man's fans showed up, shouting insults at me. "Homewrecker, you shameless bitch, CEO Chi likes Man. What do you think you are?" The security guard wanted to kick people out. I raised my hand to stop him, smiling, and said, "Me, I'm nothing much. Just legally Chi Yanli's wife." I took out the marriage certificate and placed it in front of the camera. Everyone was stunned, including Lu Man's fans. I continued, "Thank you all, dear journalists, for coming today. You are also here to witness. I have been married to Chi Yanli for 7 years, and he has been cheating on me with Lu Man for 7 years. I can't take it anymore. I won't. I have signed a divorce agreement with Chi Yanli and decided to terminate my contract with Xingchen Entertainment. Moreover, Lu Man hired internet trolls to slander and defame me. And many netizens have verbally abused and spread rumors about me. My lawyer has collected all the relevant evidence and will file lawsuits one by one. I have a small heart, but I won't let anyone who has wronged me off the hook." The press conference ended, and the internet exploded. "Oh my god, GZU and Chi Yanli are legally married. I've always disliked Lu Man. She's so fake. How can a mistress have the nerve to accuse others? Chi Yanli is no good either. How could he treat his wife like that? Scumbag and slut." How many times Chi Yanli and Lu Man had flaunted their love. Now those love videos and photos are so bitterly ironic. Multiple endorsements have announced the termination of contracts with Lu Man. Several confirmed roles and crew have been announced to be recast. Even the Best Actress award was declared void by the organizing committee. I heard there are crazy fans who sent wreaths and dead rats to Lu Man offline. How much trouble she caused me with online violence. She is now experiencing the same backlash. Lu Man called me, ranting and raving, "You're running your mouth out there like this. My commercial value is dropping. Ali's reputation is going down the drain. Forget about going public. We can't even maintain our current value. And as a shareholder, your interests will be damaged too. Are you out of your mind? I'm just telling the truth, and you can't handle it. Go ask your Ali to help you take down the trending searches, though he might be too busy to care about you right now. GZU, I'm not deaf. Keep your voice down, and don't get so worked up. If you miscarry from anger, that's not my responsibility." Not long after I hung up on Lu Man, Chi Yanli showed up at my place with a face like thunder. Chi Yanli stared at me impassively. "A Pyrrhic victory. Has your IQ dropped since you fell in love? Just for the sake of Jiang Jin and Su Heng, you've cost us nearly $1 billion. Have you lost your damn mind?" I raised an eyebrow. "It seems your intelligence network is lacking, President Xi. I've already sold my shares. The only one taking a loss here is you, not me." 3 days ago, While he was busy parading around with Lu Man, I had my sister, Shishiro, sell the shares to the second largest shareholder, Lu Dong, my sister, and I have different surnames, hers from our mother, mine from our father, so no one ever makes the connection between us. Since I'm on a controversial career path, I've kept my shares under my sister's name too. Avoid any negative impact on the company apart from Qi Yanli and Lu Man. No one else knows about this arrangement. As for Lu Dong, he usually gets along well with Lu Man, often teasing me and setting traps for me. I tricked him without any guilt. Qi Yanli's face was full of disbelief. You schemed against me. Why? Just because you can scheme against me and disgust me. I can't fight back. Don't act like a victim. It's nauseating. I gave him and Lu Man plenty of chances. They're the ones who pushed me too far anyway. The debt is settled. I couldn't be bothered to argue with someone so thick-headed, so I just kicked him out. When we signed the divorce papers, I asked for this property, but Qi Yanli kept coming here to see me, which was really annoying, so I just moved to the new place. A few of my closest friends made plans and came to see me together. You kept your secret marriage to Qi Yanli from us. You've got some nerve. You let that homewrecker walk all over you for 7 years. Talk about being a doormat. Enough of this depressing talk. Congratulations, Ziyu, on escaping that nightmare. They said they were celebrating for me, but I just had an abortion and need to eat light. They were gorging themselves right in front of me, making me drool uncontrollably. It felt like I'd invited a bunch of enemies over. Movie star Jeong Jin's public persona is aloof, cool, and arrogant. With a high IQ, his fans think he's just like the cunning mastermind villain he plays, brilliant and always 10 steps ahead. In reality, he's playful and a bit of a goofball. When we get together, our favorite pastime is teasing him. Suhung was always a bit of a troublemaker, knowing full well Jeongjin couldn't hold his liquor. He still deliberately coaxed him into drinking. Jeongjin got drunk after just one forced drink, collapsing on the floor and clinging to my leg in a drunken stupor. Xiaoyu, stop wobbling around, you're making me dizzy, come play games with me. I played for 10 seasons and still can't reach king rank. I play dodgy, but I don't know how to ambush from the bushes. They trash talk me, and I can't even talk back. Jeongjin became more and more upset as he spoke, his eyes glistening with tears by the end, which had Su Heng and the others laughing uncontrollably. I don't have time to laugh, I need to hold on to my pants, or Jeongjin will pull me down with him. Jeongjin's agent was extremely worried. I can't rest easy even with 5 assistants watching him. I'm afraid his persona might collapse one day. If I had known he was like this, I wouldn't have given him that cold and aloof image. Who could argue with that? It's all because this person is way too clueless, with that cold face of theirs, making them look quite deceptive. After a bit of commotion, everyone gradually left. They're all so busy, even spending a moment here was a struggle to fit into their schedules. Just before Suheng left, he quietly told me, listen, little sister, I've had your back since day one. If you're thinking of switching companies, you've got to give us first dibs. My brother said if you're willing to come, we can beat Jeongjin's offer by a full percentage point on your cut. His brother is the boss of the company, making him a bona fide ultra-rich second-generation heir. Alright, I'll think about it. After seeing them out, I collapsed onto the sofa and turned on the TV. These years, I've been busy helping Qi Yanli realize his dreams, and I haven't had this much leisure in a long time. Over half a month has passed, and Xingchen Entertainment has been on the hot search non-stop. In any case, it won't be going public in the near future. To be honest, it's quite a pity. If it went public, I could earn more. 2 days before the end of the divorce cooling-off period, Qi Yanli asked to meet me. Qi Yanli had been run ragged lately, with dark circles under his eyes, a scruffy beard, and he'd lost a noticeable amount of weight. He looked even more down and out than when Lu Man had dumped him. You've been resting for over a month. Are you feeling better? Qi Yanli asked me. I picked up the teacup and took a sip. On the day of the abortion and the following days, you didn't even ask me how I was. Now you're asking. Isn't that a bit too hypocritical? I was really looking forward to that child's arrival. You didn't even discuss it with me and just got rid of him. I can't help but blame you. You're not short of children. And you don't really care about this, do you? Among us, Qi Yanli has always been the one who is domineering and aggressive. Now the roles were reversed, and he instinctively frowned, wanting to lose his temper but holding it in. Qi Yanli awkwardly explained, the child in Lu Man's belly isn't mine. I've never been intimate with her. I admired my newly done nails and casually replied, I know that. She embarrassed you so much before. There's no way you could accept her without any resentment. You enjoy watching her try every trick in the book to please you, which was also the reason you signed her. Of course, you also painted her a rosy picture, coaxing her to sacrifice her beauty to accompany those big shots. all for the company's resources. You want to use her to the fullest and then expose what she's done, sending her tumbling down. This is your revenge on her. As for allowing her to drag you into the limelight and letting her bully me, it's also because I've been linked to Soo-Hung and Jeongjin. You think I've cheated on you, and you're resentful, so you're using her to repay that humiliation to me, and the company hasn't relied on me for a long time. You can use those rumors to force me out of the industry. That way, I won't have contact with other men, and you'll feel secure, right, Chi Yanli? After knowing him for so many years, I clearly understand what kind of person he is. He got all those resources because Lu Man slept with him, so when Jeongjin and Soo-Hung gave me resources, he naturally assumed I had also sold my body, but he doesn't know that not only them, but many other female celebrities and businesswomen also give me resources because they can see the value in me, unlike him, who thinks women are only worth their looks. Chi Yanli listened to my words, his expression changing several times. Finally, he said hoarsely, since you know, there's no need to divorce me. I've never cheated, and I've never thought of divorcing you. I rolled my eyes. You don't think the only reason for a divorce is infidelity, do you? Chi Yanli said dryly. I won't let anyone else push you around in the future, but you also need to keep your distance from other men. You can't do those intimate scenes anymore. If you have any other conditions, we can discuss them. I refused without hesitation. No need. With my looks, wealth, and brains, I can live any kind of happy life I want. I don't have to pretend to be married to someone I dislike. Chi Yanli, we're getting the divorce certificate the day after tomorrow, I hope. You show up as promised. Otherwise, if the news about you and Lu Man sleeping together gets out, it will be even worse for the company, don't you think? Chi Yanli's face turned pale. I was quite pleased with his reaction and left with a sense of calm satisfaction. 2 days later, I smoothly obtained my divorce certificate and, as I had hoped, terminated my contract with Starlight Entertainment. When I initially signed the contract, I set the penalty for breach at 10,000. Chi Yanli was convinced I would never leave him, so he raised no objections to the contract. It's too late for regrets now. I sued Lu Man, the hired trolls, and the netizens, won $3 million in compensation, donated it all to charity, and got a wave of positive PR. After careful consideration, I later joined Jeongjin's studio. Soo-Hung was fuming. Jeongjin, you only charged Xiaoyu 20% of the studio's operating costs to lure her in, and even introduced your uncle to manage her finances. You scheming witch. Who said you were clueless? Everyone's been fooled. Even after confronting Jeongjin directly, he still wasn't satisfied. He complained about her latest manipulative schemes everywhere he went. Every time he's on a variety show, he has to grumble into the camera. The variety show director loves stirring up trouble, and even invited me and Jeongjin to be guest stars. The director asked in public, Mr. Jeong, what do you think about Soo-Hung spreading rumors that you're calculating? Jeongjin, in front of the camera, was very aloof. He wanted to steal someone but failed, so I'll pity him and let him vent a bit. Don't get so jealous. Soo-Hung was so furious he almost cut ties with him on the spot. I placated him by ordering 2 cups of extra sweet milk tea and promising to get Jeongjin's younger sister's contact information for him. That's right. Despite his public persona as a playboy, Soo-Hung is actually a hopeless romantic at heart. He's been secretly crushing on Jeongjin's younger sister for nearly 3 years, yet he's never even dared to ask for her number. He gets so flustered and tongue-tied whenever he sees her. Jeongjin was either genuinely clueless or a real piece of work. Either way, he'd never let Soo-Hung have any solo contact with his sister all these years. After my break, I joined the Setting Sail film crew and, a year later, won the Best Actress award just as I'd hoped. With the so-called homewrecker scandal gone and my agency's strong support, I landed endorsement deals with 3 top luxury brands. A director for a major sci-fi IP in Hollywood even expressed interest in having me audition for the female lead. My career is thriving. By comparison, Chi Yanli and Lu Man are having a tough time. Within a year, Lu Man faded into obscurity, reduced to playing supporting roles in web dramas. After I left Star Entertainment, their cash cow Lu Man's reputation collapsed, leading to a sharp decline. Chi Yanli had ambitious plans to go public before, but now it's hard to even maintain the status quo. He didn't want to be outdone by his ex-wife, so he rushed into things, trying to broker deals for more resources, but the end result was that more young talents were signed. The company's revenue didn't grow much, and its reputation in the industry plummeted. The night I won the Best Actress award, I unexpectedly ran into Chi Yanli on my way home, or perhaps, he was always here to block me. Chi Yanli reeked of alcohol. Looking utterly dejected, "Geez, you, this past year I've thought a lot. I do love you. Just not in the right way. I never experienced love as a child, so I didn't know how to love someone. I'm sorry, but I truly regret it. The usually defiant person now bowed their head before me. His eyes were filled with hope and pleading. We've been together for 10 years. Can't you give me one more chance? I handed him a tissue with sympathy. You should go home, it's getting cold. Then, chatting and laughing with my assistant, I went inside and shut the door, leaving him outside. No reason is ever good enough to justify hurting someone he wasn't regretting, just failing. If he had successfully taken